Hello folks, this is Julius Brown, and this is the third video in the How We Got Here series. Tonight we're going to talk about George Floyd. George Floyd was murdered on May 25th, 2020, and it's the third event that I believe has brought things to a head here in the United States. And the problem with this comes from the response from the police, which has been lackluster to be kind. So, on May 25th, George Floyd was accused of trying to pass off a fake check, which turned out to be a $20 bill, because the reports have been different. Either way, the $20 bill turned out to be real after the fact. But during the arrest, Floyd was placed on the ground by four officers, and one officer, apparently the training officer, who was responsible for the other three officers, put his knee on George Floyd's neck. And from the video, or multiple videos that we have seen, the longest count has been just around 9 minutes. However, people started filming long after he had put his knee on George Floyd's neck. So in actuality, he held his knee on George Floyd for far longer than that. You can look up the exact time if you want. I suggest the Dave Chappelle video. He'll drill it into your head. Now, I understand restraining a suspect, but to put your knee on someone's neck, to hear them gasping for breath, saying they can't breathe, to hear multiple individuals around you yelling that you're killing him, that he can't breathe, take your knee off his neck, and to ignore it all. I don't know what to call that. Nothing that I want to say on this channel, but yeah, I'm sure you can think of some words for it. Anyway, so George Floyd died on the scene. Now, this was recorded and placed on the internet. There were recordings of this before the paramedics arrived to take 2 seconds to take his pulse, throw him on a gurney, and put him into the back of an ambulance, where he would be carted away, and then we would get a statement from the police saying that George Floyd died after the paramedics had picked him up. Later, that statement became that George Floyd died from asphyxiation. But before that, we got a statement from the police saying that no officers were involved in George Floyd's death. Now, that statement came out before police realized that the video that they had already seen was being viewed by millions of people. The outcry from that is what got us the statement that there would be an investigation into the situation. However, you had a living person murdered on video that was then placed on the internet, that was in the hands of police officials before the body was even cold. those 4 officers went back to the precinct, turned in their paperwork, finished out their day, and went home to their friends and families. I cannot stress this enough, that for 3 days, the 800 sworn officers in Minneapolis did nothing to serve their community, to protect the individuals that witnessed this. They did nothing, because a police officer can arrest you at any time for suspicion of a crime. They don't have to justify it. They can hold you for up to 72 hours in most cases without actually arresting you. But they can arrest you on suspicion of a crime for it to be later justified in court. They had video evidence that this man died because someone put their knee on his neck for upwards of 9 minutes. And these 800 sworn officers who knew where this person lived, had access to where they would be, could easily have walked up to any judge in the world and said, "Look at this video. Do you think this person deserves to be arrested?" And gotten a warrant? Or just went there and arrested them. Bravo. This is how black people are treated in the United States. This is one of the reasons we have a problem. For 3 days, the entire world had this video of a man being murdered. For 3 days, 800 sworn officers who are supposed to serve and protect the public, whose job it is to take murderers off the streets, knew where this murderer was, had access to him, and did nothing. 800 sworn officers. I might be wrong on the number. Double check after me. But you'll want to know something? Anything over 1 is not acceptable. It takes 1 officer, 1 set of handcuffs to go and arrest somebody. We see it all the time. You can be arrested for anything in this country at any time. But for 3 days, with a video of George Floyd's murder circulating around the internet in the hands of police, again before the body was even cold. For 3 days, every officer in Minneapolis did nothing. For 3 days, they told every African American in the world that if you live in the United States and your murder is caught on videotape as undisputable evidence, we don't care. This was the third of 3 events that led to the protests, to the riots, and to the major racial divide that is not new, but is now refreshed in this country. we've got a lot more to talk about, folks. And I've been recording in my car because I was not prepared to do any of this. So I'll keep recording in my car until I can set up a space. I have a 2-year-old son, and if I'm in the house doing this, he's going to be with me. My lovely wife allows me to do this, and I thank her for it, so we'll continue. My mother-in-law would break in and make a scene, so I have to come up with some place to record. Just a little light note. It's going to get better, folks, but we've got a long way. So, as always, good journey.